What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome to Endure, Believe, Rise. I hope this message reaches you in good energy. I hope you and your loved ones are in good health. So, today I wanted to talk about the past, the mistakes, what we do with the past, how we should use it, what we should use it for reference for, and how we should avoid the mistake of living there. So, let's get into it because we have an awesome quote here. Quote of the day. You begin by examining the mistakes you made in the past, the ones that have most grievously held you back. Robert Greene. Song of the day. Remember the Name by Fort Minor. Today's world, with all of the technology, recording, with all of the social media, things feel a lot more permanent than they really are. They definitely are a lot more lingering than they used to be. See, when we used to talk about a sporting event, if you didn't watch it live, when there was no audio recording, the only way you could remember this said a sporting event, the only way you could know what happened is by secondhand, word of mouth, or somebody writing it down and giving it to you, a newspaper article, magazine, listening to a radio show. But when there was no video recording, you could not go back and watch the sporting event and see what everyone is talking about and have an opinion of it of yourself because you were not there. With today's technology, it is totally different. That changed when we developed the ability to video record. See, now someone could tell you, oh, that was an awesome fight. You'd be like, let me go watch it. And you watch the Ali Frazier fight, and you might have a different opinion of it. Somebody could go back and tell you, that fight didn't give you anything of imagination or thrill. You go back and watch it, and you might see something different. You're like, what are you talking about? This guy's a genius in the ring. So with that, it is a blessing, but there also are some drawbacks, right? The thing is, everything can be recorded now. People can show you your mistakes over and over and over again. So when you decide you want to make a post about being positive, someone wants to go back into your Facebook and show you when you were going through a struggle and you took to social media to vent. When you decide you want to make a post about growth, someone wants to go back and show you a post on your Facebook where you were talking negative about your voting experiences, how you're never going to vote again. So our mistakes are constantly put in our faces. They are constantly there. They are embodied in us. People love to bring them up. Entities love to bring them up. They have to remind us of where we failed at. So things feel a lot more permanent. However, they are not. No matter how many times someone reminds you of who you used to be, you need to understand that's who you used to be. That's not who you are now. And if you have to remind them that every single time that you meet, it might be time for you to stop meeting with that person. If you have to constantly convince someone that you've changed or something that you've changed each time they have an interaction with you, might be time to start limiting you might be starting to limit your interactions with that person, place, or thing. Our past are going to be extremely, very, most doubtedly complicated. We're going to have some things back there that we love. We're going to have some things back there that we regret. The reason we look to the past is not to point our fingers at anyone or even to point our fingers at ourselves. The reason we look to our past is to learn from our mistakes, to remember the actions, to remember the steps that we took to get results that we don't want to have anymore. We added 1 cup of flour and 1 cup of sugar, and the recipe didn't come out good, did it? So we're not going to follow that recipe again. That's it. Put that behind you. The past is the past. Do not be hard on yourself and constantly feel like you have to remind yourself or anyone else of their mistakes. I guarantee you, whether they choose to admit it or not, they won't forget them. Just like you won't forget yours. But we're not going to live there. We're not going to perpetuate a negative future by having a negative past. That right there, in and of itself, is kind of counterintuitive of how the universe works. For instance, a seed goes into the ground, it's buried, it's restricted from sunlight, yet somehow it grows and blossoms into a beautiful plant, one that can be used for medicinal purposes, one that can be used and admired for its beauty, one that can be consumed for nutrition. So just because you have a negative past, just because you have made mistakes, it does not limit that you will have a positive and successful future. Matter of fact, it's kind of the necessary foundation to get forward. Failure, drawbacks, obstacles, these things will ensure when you meet them again, overcoming them now means that when you meet them again, they won't limit you in the future. So that is the main reason that we look to the past. However, I do want to reference the other side of the coin. Although we don't want to look to the past too often, there are some people who refuse to look to the past at all. Now, there is a quote, and it has rang true for many years. It's an age-old truth. Those that don't know those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. So we must know our past. We must examine our past. We must decide what we don't want, and we must decide that we're not going to go back there by doing the same thing over and over again. Here's the thing, and I'm just going to be bluntly honest because that's the best way that this message is delivered. Someone told me something the other day, or rather, I overheard a conversation. Let me be honest. Let me just be 100% honest. I overheard a conversation. I wasn't ear hustling. I wasn't spying or eavesdropping. I happened to be doing my own thing, and two people were having a boisterous conversation. And one person said to the other, "If you think that it's terrifying being broke in your 20s, imagine how it's going to feel if you're broke in your 50s." My heart dropped. I was, Lord, I said, Lord, you take the wheel. Like, I give it to you. Because that idea of waking up at 50 years old, having no money in the bank, having no career, having nothing to my name, not living paycheck to paycheck still, terrifies me. That is a terrifying. I've been there before. I've been there as recently as 2 years ago. And to think to have to go back there when I'm in an elderly state where I can't do all the jobs that I can do now, where resources aren't readily available, when friends aren't readily. I mean, let's be honest, the older we get, the less friends we're going to have, the more people that are going to pass away and become deceased. So that is just my tidbit, putting it out there on why we must examine the past. We must not live in the past. We must not live too far in the future. But we need to learn from our past on the things that we do not want to see occur again. We must be present so that we can take advantage of the opportunities and the gifts that we have in reality in real time. But we also must prepare for the future. All right, guys. I need you to take care of yourselves. Please, please be kind to one another. Keep me in your prayers. I'll forever keep you in mind. Endure, believe, rise.